Hello everyone, I'm really sorry that this review took as long as it did, as I honestly would have gotten it done a lot sooner if I did run into a few technical difficulties. One of them being, my copy of the game didn't work. Put it in the Wii U as soon as I got it in the mail, and it just wouldn't work. I don't really know why, just wouldn't. So I had to wait for Amazon to give me a replacement copy. And on top of that, my HD PVR2 has bit the dust. My reliable, trusty, always perfectly working HD PVR, which would never corrupt hours of data, stop and start recording at random, crashing completely, and coming packaged with the most fiddly and finicky wires in the universe. Many frustration-free hours were not spent with me being infuriated at you and your incompetent customer service, just trying to get you to function like you should. Many fond memories. Anyway, for the time being, all footage of Kirby and the Rainbow Paintbrush is courtesy of these guys. These guys made this review possible. Anyway, with that out the way, on with the review. Kirby and the Rainbow Paintbrush. Out of all the game franchises I own and try to collect, Kirby is definitely one of the more elusive. Pretty much all of the Kirby games I'm most interested in tend to be incredibly expensive. Finding a copy of Kirby 64 in box for less than 100 quid is an honest-to-God miracle. Same goes for Kirby Air Ride, Kirby Adventure Wii, and Kirby Superstar Ultra, all games I desperately want to own but can't. And despite not really being all that interested in every Kirby game, Kirby and the Rainbow Paintbrush really grabbed my attention. Maybe it's because I have an affinity for concept art and design that I'm gravitating more towards the visual side of this game, but I can't really pretend that the main reason I'm excited for this game isn't because it looks like the Wii U's answer to Neverhood. So anyway, let's find out. Is this game nothing much more than a glorified Wallace and Gromit cartoon, or is there more to it other than its cutesy art style? There's only one way to find out. Let's get into my working copy of Kirby and the Rainbow Paintbrush. Why did I include the working copy bit? That was going good. Why did I ruin it by so... There was no reason to say that bit. The story of Kirby and the Rainbow Paintbrush begins with a giant hole opening up in Dreamland, sucking away all the colour and life and whatever else. But then this fairy person resurrects Kirby and Waddle Dee, and it's up to them to make the world colourful again, I guess. I feel like I'm getting to the point on this channel where talking about stories like this is almost impossible for me. It's a Nintendo game with a Nintendo story. I have literally no opinion on it. Apart from that basic premise, it's more or less a game about nothing. I swear to God, it's almost like Seinfeld levels of nothing, or at least up until the final world it is. What's the deal with all these games about nothing? Why can't you have a story? What's wrong with a story? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? As for the gameplay, it's pretty good. The game is played by drawing lines on the gamepad to help Kirby get to new areas, defeat enemies, and traverse environments. In fact, the entire game can be played with the gamepad touchscreen, to the point where none of the buttons do anything at all. And although, like I said in my Tropical Freeze review, that it's good that not all Wii U games are shoehorning in the gamepad technology, seeing games that use it this much is pretty cool too. Saying that though, Kirby and the Rainbow Paintbrush didn't really feel like a Kirby game. There's no floating around, sucking up enemies, or copying their abilities. I mean, yeah, it has the Kirby aesthetic, but I mean, aside from that, it doesn't really feel like a Kirby game. Kind of ironic that Kirby's Epic Yarn, a game that until late in development wasn't a Kirby game at all, feels more like a Kirby game than this Kirby game does. But for what it is, the gameplay is fun, and it makes for a nice passive thing to do while talking on Skype or listening to music. I know those are pretty specific examples, but I mean, that's what I did while playing this game. Hell, I'm even playing it right now while I narrate this video. And yeah, maybe that does make it a little bit too easy, but then again, that's pretty much Kirby tradition by this point. And then there's the main attraction, or at least for me anyway. The claymation style is what hooked me as soon as I first saw it at E3, and one of the main reasons I wanted to pick this game up. And then the game itself, it looks pretty awesome. But I can't pretend I wasn't vaguely disappointed with it. It doesn't really do anything that creative with the style aside from looking like clay. Kirby's Epic Yarn used its art style to really play with the scenery, unzipping parts of the environment and crawling around behind behind it. And unfortunately, this time round, it's more of a cosmetic thing. Not to say that it doesn't look good by any means, or that the game itself isn't creative, but that they didn't use the art style creatively, making it a game with quite a lot of lost potential. And so that's Kirby in the Rainbow Paintbrush. Almost definitely the worst Wii U game I've reviewed to date. Now again, it isn't a bad game. The gameplay's enjoyable, the paintbrush mechanic is fun, there's a ton of replay value, content to keep you occupied aside from the main game. Didn't give myself enough breath to say all that in one go. But overall, it's just okay. And stacked up against all the other Wii U games I've reviewed that are way better than being just okay, it makes it kind of difficult to recommend as a must-own title like I can the rest. Either way, I think I'm going to hold on to this game, at least for the time being, even if I never intend to play it ever again. Because thanks to those 5 letters right there, something tells me that this game will end up being incredibly rare and expensive, just like the rest. I give it a month.